Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It is the engine that drives your reality, the filter through which you see the world, and the force that determines your actions, your emotions, and ultimately your destiny. Everything you experience, your successes, your failures, your relationships, your struggles, first begins in your mind. Your beliefs shape your thoughts. Your thoughts dictate your actions, and your actions create your results. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same situation and have completely different experiences. One person sees a challenge and says, "This is the end. I can't do this. I always fail." The other person facing the exact same situation says, "This is an opportunity. There's something here for me to learn. I always figure things out." And guess what? The person who believes they will find a way will always find one, while the person who believes they are stuck will stay stuck. Not because of their circumstances, but because of their mindset. This isn't just motivational talk. It's science. Your brain is wired to look for evidence that supports what you already believe. If you believe that life is hard, unfair, and filled with obstacles, your mind will focus on every difficulty, every struggle, and every setback. But if you believe that everything always works out for you, your mind will start finding proof of that too. You will begin to notice the opportunities you never saw before. You will attract the right people, the right resources, and the right ideas because your mind is tuned into success instead of failure. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It doesn't question whether your thoughts are true or false. It simply takes in the instructions you give it. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I can't do this," or "I'll probably fail," your mind will make sure that reality plays out. But the opposite is also true. If you tell yourself, "I always figure things out, I am capable, and success is inevitable for me," your mind will work behind the scenes to align your actions with those beliefs. This is why high performers, top athletes, and world-class leaders all train their minds before anything else. They know that success isn't just about skill, it's about belief. When you shift your mindset to act as if everything always works out for you, you start showing up in a different way. You walk with more confidence. You take more decisive action. You stop overthinking and start moving forward. And that energy is powerful. People are drawn to those who radiate certainty. Opportunities come to those who act with confidence. Success follows those who expect it. It's not magic. It's just how the world works. The key to shaping your reality is consistency. You can't just think positively once and expect your life to change. You have to reprogram your mind daily. It's like going to the gym. You don't get strong from one workout, and you don't build an unshakable mindset from one pep talk. You have to train it. You have to condition yourself to think in a way that serves you instead of sabotaging you. Start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Notice when you are feeding yourself negative stories and interrupt them. Replace them with empowering beliefs. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," say, "I'm getting stronger through this challenge." Instead of saying, "I don't know if this will work," say, "I will find a way." Instead of saying, "I'm not lucky," say, "Everything is always working in my favor." These shifts may seem small, but they compound over time. The more you train your mind to believe that things are working out for you, the more your reality will reflect that belief. You will start to notice how problems resolve themselves faster. You will see that even when things don't go as planned, they somehow turn out better than you expected. You will start to trust the process of life instead of resisting it. And here's the most important part. You don't have to see the full path ahead to believe that things are working out. Too many people wait for proof before they trust. They want to see the whole staircase before they take the first step. But that's not how success works. You have to take the step first. You have to act as if you already know it's going to work out. That belief alone is what opens the doors, attracts the opportunities, and moves you forward. So from this moment on, decide that your mind is your greatest asset. Train it, guard it, feed it with beliefs that empower you instead of limit you. Because when you truly believe that everything is working out for you, life has a way of proving you right. Fear is a natural part of life. It is hardwired into your brain as a survival mechanism designed to keep you safe from danger. But the problem is that your mind doesn't just react to real threats, it reacts to perceived threats too. And in today's world, those threats are rarely life or death situations. Instead, they show up as self-doubt, worry, and hesitation. Fear whispers in your ear telling you that you might fail, that you might be judged, that you might not be good enough. And if you listen to that voice, it will keep you stuck in the same place, living the same life, never reaching your full potential. The fear loop is a cycle that keeps you trapped. It starts with a negative thought. What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I'm not good enough? That thought triggers an emotional response, anxiety, doubt, hesitation. And when you feel that discomfort, instead of pushing through it, you pull back. You procrastinate. You avoid the challenge. You stay in your comfort zone. And for a moment, it feels like relief. But then what happens? That avoidance reinforces the belief that you weren't ready, that you weren't capable, and that belief fuels more fear the next time an opportunity comes around. And just like that, the loop continues. The only way to break free is to interrupt the cycle before it takes control of you. You have to train yourself to take action in the face of fear rather than shrink away from it. The truth is, fear isn't the enemy. Inaction is. Fear will always be there when you step into the unknown, but courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite fear. It's looking that voice of doubt in the face and saying, I hear you, but you don't control me. Think about the most successful, confident people you know. Do you think they never feel fear? Of course they do. The difference is, they don't let fear dictate their decisions. They have trained themselves to recognize fear for what it is, a signal that they are growing. They use it as fuel rather than a stop sign. So how do you break free? First, recognize the pattern. When you feel fear creeping in, stop and ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Is this a real danger, or is it just my mind trying to keep me comfortable? Most of the time, fear isn't about what is actually happening in the present moment. It's about what could happen. It's about worst case scenarios that haven't even occurred. The mind loves to play the what if game, but here's the thing. If you're going to imagine a worst case scenario, why not also imagine the best case scenario? Why not train your mind to focus on what could go right instead of what could go wrong? The next step is action. Fear hates momentum. The second you take action, even a small step, you break its hold on you. Have you ever noticed that the things you spend days or weeks worrying about often turn out to be nothing? The conversation you were afraid to have, the opportunity you hesitated on, the risk you were unsure about, all of that fear existed only in your mind. And once you finally did the thing you were afraid of, you realized it wasn't nearly as bad as you thought. That's because fear grows in the absence of action. But the moment you move forward, it begins to shrink. Another key to breaking the fear loop is shifting your physiology. Fear isn't just in your thoughts, it's in your body. When you're afraid, your posture changes, your breathing becomes shallow, your shoulders tighten, and that physical state reinforces the mental state of fear. But if you shift your body, you shift your mind. Stand up tall, breathe deeply, move with confidence, and you will instantly feel different. This is why athletes and performers have rituals before they go on stage or into competition. They know that how they feel physically affects how they perform mentally. You also have to reframe failure. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in fear is because they are afraid of failing. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every successful person has failed more times than most people have even tried. They don't see failure as a reason to stop. They see it as feedback, as a lesson, as a stepping stone. When you reframe failure as a necessary part of the journey, you stop fearing it. You start embracing it. Another powerful way to break the fear loop is by asking better questions. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if I succeed? Instead of asking, what if I'm not ready? Ask, what if I'm more ready than I think? Instead of asking, what if people judge me? Ask, what if people are inspired by me? Your brain is always looking for answers, so give it better questions to work with. And finally, surround yourself with people who reinforce courage, not fear. Fear is contagious. but so is confidence. If you spend time with people who constantly doubt themselves, who play small, who let fear control their lives, that energy will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with people who take risks, who believe in themselves, who act with certainty, their mindset will become your mindset. Fear will never fully go away, but you don't need it to. You just need to stop letting it control you, because everything you want, the success, the confidence, the opportunities, they are all on the other side of fear. And the only way to get there is to break the loop. Act, move forward, trust yourself, because the more you push through fear, the less power it has over you. And one day you'll look back and realize that the things that once scared you no longer have any hold on you. You'll realize that you were never truly trapped. The only thing holding you back was the illusion of fear. And once you break free, there is nothing stopping you. Emotions dictate everything in life. How you think, how you act, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately the results you get. Most people let their emotions control them. They wake up and let their feelings decide how the day will go. If they feel motivated, they take action. If they feel tired, they procrastinate. If they feel discouraged, they give up. And this is why so many people stay stuck, because they believe that emotions are something that happen to them rather than something they can control. But here's the truth. Just like your body, your emotions are muscles that can be trained. You wouldn't expect to be physically strong if you never worked out. You wouldn't expect to have endurance if you never conditioned your body. Yet most people expect to be mentally and emotionally strong without ever training their mind. The people who are the most confident, the most resilient, the most unstoppable are not that way because they were born with something special. They are that way because they have conditioned themselves day after day to take control of their emotions rather than let their emotions take control of them. It starts with awareness. Most people go through life completely unaware of their emotional patterns. They let the same triggers set them off. The same frustrations throw them into a negative spiral. The same doubts hold them back. But if you start paying attention, you'll realize that your emotions are patterns, and patterns can be changed. When you feel yourself getting frustrated, anxious, or overwhelmed, stop and ask yourself, is this emotion serving me? Is this reaction helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? The moment you become aware of an emotional pattern, you have the power to change it. The next step is interrupting the pattern. Think about a record playing the same song over and over again. If you scratch the record, it skips and the loop is broken. Your emotional patterns work the same way. If you always react to stress with anxiety, break the pattern. Stand up, move your body, take deep breaths. Say something out loud that shifts your focus. The fastest way to change an emotion is to change your physiology. If you're feeling down, force yourself to stand tall, smile, and breathe deeply. If you're feeling sluggish, jump up and move. Your body and mind are connected. When you shift one, you shift the other. But breaking the pattern is just the first step. If you want to truly train your emotional muscles, you have to condition new emotions until they become your default state. Think about gratitude, confidence, certainty. These are emotions that, when practiced daily, become a natural part of who you are. The key is repetition. Just like you wouldn't go to the gym once and expect to be in shape forever, you can't practice positive emotions once and expect lasting change. You have to make it a habit. One of the most powerful ways to train your emotional state is by starting your day intentionally. Instead of waking up and immediately checking your phone, flooding your mind with stress, anxiety, and distractions, take control of your morning. Spend a few minutes focusing on gratitude. Think about 3 things you're grateful for and feel that gratitude in your body. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to shift your emotional state because it's impossible to feel fear or stress while feeling deeply grateful. Another way to condition powerful emotions is through visualization. Your mind doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. That's why athletes, performers, and top achievers all use visualization. They see themselves succeeding, winning, pushing through challenges before they actually do it. And when the real moment comes, they have already conditioned their mind to believe in success. If you start each day by visualizing yourself being confident, handling challenges with ease, and taking bold action, your brain starts to accept that as reality. Language also plays a massive role in emotional conditioning. The words you use determine the emotions you feel. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm exhausted, your mind and body will respond accordingly. But if you shift your language saying, I'm excited for this challenge, I'm energized, I always figure things out, you rewire your brain to create that reality. Notice the words you use daily and upgrade them. Instead of saying, I have to do this, say, I get to do this. Instead of saying, this is too hard, say, this is making me stronger. These small shifts compound over time and completely change how you experience life. Emotional conditioning also requires pushing through discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. The only way to build resilience, confidence, and mental toughness is to face challenges head on. Most people wait until they feel ready before taking action, but that's backwards. You don't feel confident before you take action. You feel confident because you take action. Every time you push through fear, doubt, or hesitation, you strengthen your emotional muscles. The more you do this, the less fear controls you. Surrounding yourself with the right people is another critical part of emotional conditioning. Emotions are contagious. If you spend time around people who are constantly complaining, doubting themselves, and living in fear, that energy will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with people who are driven, confident, and solution-fixed, their energy will elevate yours. Choose your environment wisely because it directly affects your emotional state. Finally, remind yourself daily that you are in control. You are not at the mercy of your emotions. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You have the power to decide how you feel, how you respond, and how you show up in the world. And the more you train yourself to choose empowering emotions, the more unstoppable you become. Confidence, resilience, and certainty aren't reserved for a select few. They are available to anyone who is willing to put in the work. And when you take control of your emotions, you take control of your entire life. Setbacks are inevitable. No matter who you are or what you're striving for, life will test you. There will be moments when things don't go as planned, when you face rejection, when you hit a wall that seems impossible to break through. But the truth is, setbacks are not the enemy. They are the greatest source of growth, the raw material from which success is built. The only difference between people who rise and those who stay stuck is how they interpret the obstacles in their path. Most people see setbacks as proof that they aren't good enough, that they should quit, that life is unfair. But those who succeed at the highest level reframe every setback as fuel. They look at challenges and say, this is happening for me, not to me. They turn obstacles into opportunities and failures into lessons. The problem isn't the setback itself, it's the meaning you attach to it. If you believe a failure means you're not cut out for success, that belief will shape your actions. You'll hesitate, you'll doubt yourself, and you'll shrink from challenges. But if you believe failure is just part of the process, that every setback is a setup for something greater, you'll keep pushing forward. You'll use the pain as motivation rather than letting it break you. Think about the people who have achieved extraordinary success. They didn't get there by avoiding failure. They got there by using it as fuel. Every great entrepreneur has had failed businesses. Every champion has lost before they won. Every artist, actor, and innovator has been rejected. The difference is they didn't let those moments define them. They used them as stepping stones. They asked, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I use this experience to become even better? That shift in mindset is everything. Reframing setbacks doesn't mean pretending challenges don't hurt. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or disappointment. It means refusing to let those emotions paralyze you. It means choosing to see setbacks as temporary rather than permanent, because here's the reality. Every time you face a setback, you are being given a choice. You can see it as proof that you should quit, or you can see it as fuel to push harder. You can allow it to weaken you, or you can use it to make yourself stronger. The way to make this shift is to change your perspective in real time. The next time something doesn't go your way, instead of immediately reacting with frustration or self-doubt, pause and ask yourself a better question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of saying, this is the end, ask, how can I turn this into a new beginning? Your brain is always searching for answers, so give it better questions to work with. One of the most powerful examples of this is the story of athletes who suffer career-threatening injuries. Some of them spiral into despair and let their careers fade away. Others decide that the injury is going to be the best thing that ever happened to them. They use the recovery time to build mental strength, to refine their skills, to study the game in ways they never had before. And when they come back, they are stronger, not just physically, but mentally. They see the setback as the very thing that transformed them into the champions they were meant to be. You can apply this same principle to any area of life. If you lose a job, instead of seeing it as a failure, see it as the push you needed to find something even better. If a relationship ends, instead of dwelling on the loss, use it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become the kind of person who attracts the right partner. If you start a business and it doesn't take off, instead of thinking you're not cut out for it, recognize that every mistake, every failure is bringing you closer to the version of yourself that will succeed. This is not just about success, it's about resilience. Because no matter how talented, skilled, or prepared you are, life will test you. You will experience moments of doubt, failure, and frustration. But the people who make it to the top are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. They take every challenge, every disappointment, every no they receive, and turn it into power. They don't let circumstances define them. They define the circumstances. To train yourself to see setbacks as fuel, start keeping track of your challenges and what you've learned from them. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, focus on what you gained. Maybe a failure forced you to build a new skill. Maybe a rejection pushed you to work harder. Maybe a difficult situation helped you develop emotional strength. When you start recognizing that every setback contains a lesson, you stop fearing failure. You start seeing it as necessary, as part of the journey, as something that is shaping you into the person who is capable of achieving everything you desire. And here's the most important part. You have to trust the process. Some of the hardest moments in your life, the ones that felt like the biggest failures, will one day be the moments you look back on with gratitude. You will see that the rejection led to something better, that the failure forced you to grow in ways you never would have otherwise, that the struggle was the very thing that prepared you for the success that followed. The key is to keep moving no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many times life knocks you down. Keep going. Keep learning, keep growing, keep pushing forward, because setbacks are not the end of the story. They are the fuel that drives you toward everything you are meant to become. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary success and those who stay stuck in the same place isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's action. Massive, relentless, committed action. But not just any action. Action taken with absolute certainty. Most people hesitate. They overthink. They analyze every possible outcome, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions before they make a move. And while they are stuck in indecision, opportunities pass them by. Momentum is lost and fear takes over. The people who create real results in life don't wait. They don't need to see the whole path before they take the first step. They decide what they want and they move forward with conviction, knowing they will figure it out along the way. Certainty is what separates those who dabble from those who dominate. When you act with certainty, you move differently. You carry yourself with confidence. You speak with power. You stop second-guessing yourself. And that energy is magnetic. People are drawn to those who believe in themselves. Opportunities come to those who act with decisiveness. Success follows those who refuse to entertain doubt. Certainty is not something you are born with. It is something you develop. It comes from conditioning your mind, shifting your perspective, and proving to yourself over and over again that you are capable. The biggest mistake people make is waiting until they feel ready before taking action. But that's not how it works. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. The only way to build certainty is by stepping forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Every time you take a bold step, you train your mind to trust yourself. You build proof that you can handle uncertainty. You develop the ability to adapt, to problem solve, to navigate the unknown. And the more you do this, the stronger that certainty becomes. Massive action means playing full out. It means attacking your goals with intensity, with focus, with an unstoppable mindset. It means making a decision and then backing it up with execution. Too many people say they want something, but their actions don't reflect that desire. They set a goal, but they move at half speed. They let distractions, doubts, and external circumstances slow them down. The people who make real progress don't do this. They commit fully. They burn the boats. They remove hesitation from their vocabulary. They don't ask, should I do this? They decide, I will do this, and then they find a way no matter what. One of the biggest barriers to taking massive action is fear of failure. People hesitate because they don't want to make mistakes. They want to guarantee that things will work out before they commit. But the truth is, failure is not something to avoid. It is something to embrace. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than most people have even tried. They don't see failure as an endpoint. They see it as data, as feedback, as a necessary part of the process. Every failure contains a lesson. Every setback strengthens resilience. Every mistake is a stepping stone toward mastery. When you reframe failure in this way, you stop fearing it. You stop letting it slow you down. You start seeing action, any action, as progress, because even if it doesn't go as planned, you are learning, growing, and moving forward. Taking massive action also means eliminating distraction. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in consuming instead of creating. People spend hours scrolling, researching, planning, convincing themselves that they are being productive when in reality, they are just avoiding the real work. There is a time for learning, but there is a point where more information won't help you. Only action will. The people who achieve the most aren't necessarily the ones who know the most. They are the ones who do the most. They don't just sit around absorbing knowledge. They apply it. They test, they execute, they refine, they adjust. And because they are in constant motion, they make more progress in a year than most people make in a lifetime. Another key to taking massive action is speed. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. The more time you spend thinking about a decision, the more doubt creeps in. The people who succeed at the highest level make decisions quickly and course correct along the way. They don't waste energy obsessing over what ifs. They trust themselves to figure things out as they go. This is why momentum is so powerful. Once you start moving, once you commit to action, you generate energy, you create a sense of urgency, you tap into a level of focus that most people never experience. And that kind of momentum is hard to stop. There is also a deeper reason why taking action with certainty is so powerful. It rewires your identity. Every action you take reinforces a belief about who you are. If you hesitate, procrastinate, and second guess yourself, you reinforce the identity of someone who is unsure, who plays small, who lets fear dictate their choices. But if you take bold action, if you move forward despite uncertainty, if you push through resistance, you reinforce the identity of someone who is unstoppable. And once you become that person, success is inevitable. To build this habit, start making small decisions with certainty. Train yourself to move quickly. If something needs to be done, do it immediately. If an opportunity arises, take it. If a challenge appears, face it head on. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. Over time, you will develop the ability to trust yourself in bigger and bigger ways. You will stop hesitating, stop overthinking, stop letting fear dictate your actions. You will start operating with the kind of certainty that attracts success. that creates momentum, that sets you apart from everyone else. There is no secret formula for success. There is no perfect plan, no guaranteed path. The only way to create the life you want is to take massive action, backed by unwavering belief. If you wait until you feel ready, you will be waiting forever. If you hesitate, you will miss the opportunities meant for you. But if you decide right now that you will move forward with certainty, that you will figure it out along the way, that you will refuse to let fear or doubt slow you down, everything changes. Because when you take action with absolute conviction, the world moves out of your way. Energy is everything. It dictates your mindset, your emotions, your actions, and ultimately your results. The people you surround yourself with are either fueling your fire or draining your power. They are either lifting you higher or pulling you down. If you want to reach the next level, if you want to create unstoppable momentum, you must become intentional about the energy you allow into your life. Most people never think about this. They let their environment control them instead of taking control of their environment. They spend time with people who complain, who make excuses, who settle for mediocrity, and then they wonder why they feel stuck, uninspired, or exhausted. But success leaves clues. If you look at the highest achievers, the most confident, driven, and resilient individuals, they all have one thing in common. They protect their energy like their life depends on it. Because it does. Energy is contagious. Spend enough time around negativity and it will start to shape your thoughts. Spend enough time around people who doubt themselves and you will start to doubt yourself. But when you surround yourself with an unstoppable energy, with people who are relentless, who take massive action, who refuse to settle, something shifts. Your standards rise. Your thinking expands. Your belief in what's possible transforms. Suddenly, the things that once seemed impossible now feel within reach. The goals that felt out of range now feel inevitable. This is why your inner circle matters more than you realize. You are the sum of the energy you expose yourself to daily. If you want to grow, if you want to operate at a higher level, you must be willing to make changes. That might mean distancing yourself from people who drain your energy. It might mean saying no to conversations that pull you into doubt, fear, and small thinking. It might mean seeking out new mentors, new environments, new relationships that challenge and stretch you. This is not about cutting people out with judgment or resentment. It's about making a decision about who you are becoming and aligning yourself with people who match that vision. One of the fastest ways to elevate your energy is to get around people who are already where you want to be. When you spend time with those who are playing at a higher level, your brain starts to adjust. It sees what's possible. It rewires your beliefs. Suddenly, things that seemed difficult before now feel normal. The bar is raised and you rise with it. But it's not just about the people. It's also about the environments you put yourself in. Energy isn't just transferred through conversations. It's embedded in spaces, in communities, in movements. If you've ever walked into a room full of people who are passionate, driven, and on fire for life, you've felt it. There's a charge in the air, an electric current that shifts something inside you. That's the kind of energy you need to seek out, the kind that